Welcome to another edition of the Abrams Boxing Show, powered by the BoxingHour.com, boxing's number one website for all the latest news, videos, up to the date reports, ringside access, everything. It's the BoxingHour.com. I'm Marc Abrams. We got a big show for you this week. We have Oshaki Foster, who takes on Robson Cinceicao this Saturday night, a rematch at the Turning Stone in New York, as well as Raymond Muratalla, who's in the co-feature against Jesus Campos. So we will get to those interviews in a few minutes. Just going step back, last Saturday night in Manchester, England, top five across the board. Jack Catterall, WBA number 5, IBF number 3, WBO number 2, WBC number 2, super lightweight. Went to 31 as he scored a 12-round unanimous decision over two-time former world champion Regis Prograis in a bout that took place in Manchester, England. Prograis was dropped 3 times during the fight. Prograis actually started off the fight looking pretty good, but then he got dropped in round 5 from a jab, and then 2 more times in round number 9. Scores are 117-108 and 116-109 twice for Jack Catterall, who will most likely get a real big opportunity, maybe a world title shot, much deserved world championship fight in his next outing. Whoever that may be, maybe a fight that could be made, could be the winner of Liam Perot against Richardson Hitchens that takes place in December. All those are under the Matchroom banner, so could be an easy fight to make for Eddie Hearn, and Jack Catterall definitely deserving this world title opportunity. Former world cruiserweight champion Murad Gassiev went to 31-2. He notched his 24th knockouts. He stopped previously undefeated Ken Jungfist. Jungfist now 18-1 with 11 knockouts. Heavyweight fight that took place in Armenia. Last Friday night in Massachusetts, Rashidi Ellis scored a second-round stoppage over Brian Chavez, fight that was streamed live on the Zone. Ellis now 25-1 with 16 knockouts. Chavez falls to 14-6. Knocked down in round 1. Chavez was able to continue after the second round, score the knockout stoppage victory for Rashidi Speedy Ellis. Also, in a fight that was ringside, as Sharina Metcalf won the IBF Bantamweight Championship with a 10-round unanimous decision over Mio Yoshida. Yoshida was the champion, going second win in less than a year for Metcalf over Yoshida. The fight took place at the Theater of Madison Square Garden. Like I said, I was ringside for it. Scores are 99-91, which was, I think, a little egregious. I thought it was closer to the other two scorecards, 97-93, 96-94 for Metcalf. Yoshida drops to 17-5, so Sharina Metcalf now can call herself a world champion. This week got a decent amount of fights going on, a couple fights going on ESPN Plus and DAZN respectively, as the first fight on ESPN Plus will be a rematch. Robson Cinceicao takes on Oshaki Foster for the WBC 130-pound championship of a fight that took place in June, where most people thought that Foster should have gotten the victory. They gave the fight to Cinceicao. It wasn't a great fight nonetheless. But Cinceicao won the championship. We shall see what Oshaki Foster has in store for the rematch. I had a chance to speak to the former champion, Oshaki Foster, earlier this week, and this is what he had to say.
Good.
I said a word that I'm sure maybe, for lack of a better term, pisses you off. I used the word former world champion. Obviously, that fight, the first fight with Cinceicao, was a close fight that I know most people, and I was there ringside as well, thought that maybe your hand should have been raised that night. Just go back to July and just give us your thoughts on that fight.
Yeah, former sound crazy. Former sound crazy for sure. But nah, man. The fight was easy. It was. I didn't see what the judges got it at, but. Man, I don't know, man. The fight was easy for me though. It was.
Looking back, X, I'm sure. I mean, did you watch the tape, or you maybe couldn't bring yourself to even watching it?
Yeah, I watched it one time.
Well, and
watch
I mean, what did you think? Any differently than what you were doing in the ring that night, or was it much of the same?
The only thing that I seen, it's the only thing I seen I could have got a little bit more active as far as let my hands go in certain situations more. But you know, how I felt in the ring when I looked at it, that's how it was. It was easy.
And I'm sure you still are. Before that fight, and before we hit record on this, I told him I've known you a long, long time, and you've become a much different fighter. A guy who fights with a ton of confidence, especially the 12th round against Martinez. The fight against Nova was a terrific fight for you. Did you feel that even though you didn't get your hand raised in July, that you still have that confidence? You're still on that roll that you've been on for the last several years?
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, you guys that question again?
I mean, like, you didn't get your hand raised. Your confidence level, do you still view yourself as an invincible champion?
Oh yeah, my confidence level went even higher.
Okay.
It went even higher after the Conceição robbery because it just like I was telling the last interview, it just made me free. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to be perfect and it, and then I went out there and I fought one of the best fights I feel like I could have fought, and I got robbed. So now it's like I'm free, and it's been showing it in the gym and sparring. You know what I mean? Everything just been it's been great. So I don't know. My confidence is way higher than what it was.
After going 12 rounds with Conceição, obviously you've been in there for 36 minutes with it. Is it easier to prepare for a fight knowing you know how hard he hits, maybe his movements? Is it easier to prepare for a rematch because you've gone 12 hard rounds with him?
Yeah, for sure. Rematches have always been good for me. I had a lot of them in the amateurs. Once I see you, or once it's over with. Like I got your number, so it's gonna be the first time that I'm able to get a rematch in the pros, and I think it's gonna be fun, man. I think it's gonna be real fun.
Because of what happened in July, do you feel, and you mentioned the word pressure, do you feel maybe the need to either really put a beating on them or knocking them out to make sure that you can take this fight out of the judge's hands?
I don't got no pressure on me. My I'm just telling myself to go out there and work and have fun. Cause long as I work, long as like what my mind state at now, I wanna I wanna do certain things. You know what I mean? So nah, ain't no pressure. It's just pressure for me to go out there and have fun and go to work. Like put the work in. And
I
you
know.
gotta remember, I'm happy for adversity. Like I get happy. I get like a rush of energy when it gets to adversity and shit and stuff like that.
How from where you've come in life, and I know you've been through it. Like I said, I've known you a long time. You've been through it to become a world champion. Have you ever, thought, wow, all the adversity, and then how much is that all the adversity you went through help you come fight night?
It's one of the biggest things for me. It's one of the biggest things for me because like it the adversity made me know I'm supposed to be here. Like I'm here for a reason. So I take it into every fight. Even like I say after that loss, like I take it in, and it just fueled me. Like it just fueled me to go harder and to prove people wrong and prove that you know what I mean everything wrong. So it's just yeah, it give me that yeah, let's go. I'm built for this.
Last two quick questions. I know obviously you have a tall task in front of you on November 2nd, but just announced was Emmanuel Navarrete and Oscar Valdez rematch. Should you become victorious on November 2nd, will your eyes kind of turn towards maybe that fight for a possible unification fight?
Oh yeah, for sure. My eyes is My eyes glued on that after this. That's gonna be like I said, we gotta handle business first, but I'm gonna try to be in attendance for that and everything.
What do you want to say to the fans in closing? And also, how does November 2nd end?
You got Big Shock in the building. I see y'all November 2nd. We gonna go in and put on a show. Um, all I can say is we trying to come in and make it lights out. That's it, man. We just watch out.
There you have it. He says, watch out with Shockey Foster. Thank you for a few minutes of your time. We look forward to seeing you on November 2nd, the Turning Stone Resort, Verona, New York. Best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brody. Two
Thank you.
time.
There you have it, Oshaki Foster, who gets his chance to become a two-time world champion on Saturday night. The co-feature will pit Raymond Muratalla against Jesus Antonio Campos. Should be an interesting fight. Muratalla, who is knocking on the door of a major opportunity, and he knows it. So he needs a big effort on Saturday night. I had a chance to talk to the up-and-coming star, Raymond Muratalla, in this Out Sound. Now join me on the line is lightweight contender Raymond Muratalla, who takes on Jesus Antonio Perez Campos on November the 2nd, live at the Turning Stone Resort in upstate New York, Verona, New York. Raymond, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mark. How are you?
Thank you for a few minutes of your time. One of the top lightweights contenders now in the world. You got this fight November 2nd against Campos a couple weeks out as we tape this. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. Everything's been going good. Feeling good. Can't wait, man. Can't wait to put on a show for you guys.
I know this is a replacement opponent. You had to change up the training, kind of change up, maybe some strategy, look into some different film and so forth.
Um, yeah, we kind of knew we're fighting this guy. They once they told us, man, we just got right back to work, man. Got back to the gym and just started working. And like I said, man, it's gonna be a tough fight. We know this. We're fully prepared. We had guys around and with similar styles, and I'm prepared for this.
You feel any added, extra pressure, so to speak, because now you are knocking on the door of those big fights. In fact, I think you've actually been offered and been named for a couple big fights that maybe didn't materialize for one reason or another. You feel that is it sometimes tough? I know that you said this guy's a tough guy, but not to look ahead because you know kind of what's on the other side of the door.
Yeah, like you said, man, it's I'm never one to look past my opponents, but hopefully the beginning of next year, man, have some great things to come in, and yeah, it's gonna be exciting and can't wait to be a part of.
When you were coming up, the last couple of years, there was guys like Haney and Tank Davis and Tiafimo, kind of some real big names on the, in the lightweight division. You feel like, you didn't get your like, hey, what about me kind of thing because you were, they were lining them up and you were knocking them out, everyone out, and you've, quickly, for maybe even a meteoric rise in the lightweight division.
Yeah, like you said, man, I was putting on good performance, man, and I was just putting in the work, I was just getting fights that they were giving me and putting these guys out and we're here now. So I mean, can't complain. I just been doing my job. So hopefully this opportunity comes up.
Have you and your team mapped out? I know you're not looking past them, but have you mapped out what could be next, or that's not even your thought process right now?
As far as right now, man, I'm focused on this fight. But obviously, man, like I've always said, I obviously want the champions. I obviously want that belt. So whoever has the belt, we know the guys who have the belt, and I want part of any of them.
Well, it's funny. My next question is like, without without calling someone out, because you're a very humble guy, but is there one or two of the guys that say that this would be a good fight for me, or a good style matchup for me?
I think any of those guys, man. I don't Berichek. I think he's a awkward style, but I mean, all those guys are champions, so they're not champion for no reason. You got Shakur, and then you had Lomachenko, man. So any of those guys, I think all those guys are great matchups for me and are tough opponents, and I'm here for it, man. This is what I do.
I know if the right opportunity came along, I know there's been a fight or two offered to you at 140. If the right opportunity came along that made it worth your while, would that be something to look at?
Yeah, maybe yeah, like you said, man. I mean, if it makes sense and it sounds right, I'll be open to that. But as far as right now, man, I'm looking to get some bouts at 135, and then we can talk about that.
Obviously, November 2nd is a big fight against Campos. What does he bring to the table?
I think he's a tough opponent, man. He brings experience. He's been in the ring with a lot of bigger guys. So I think that experience he does have, but I still think my fighting style is a lot different than opponents he's faced, and I think it's gonna show November 2nd. So I think it's gonna be a great fight for the fans, definitely.
What do you want to say to the fans in closing before we let you go? We see you November 2nd live at Turning Stone against Campos, and what figures to be a fight that's going to have a lot of fireworks in it.
Definitely, man. Tune in November 2nd on ESPN. It's gonna be a great show, a hell of a fight, and can't wait to put on the show for you guys and tune in.
Last question: where do we find you on social media?
Ray_Muratalla 1.
There you have it. One of the top lightweights. He's one of the top lightweights in the world. Prospect no more. Raymond Muratalla. Thank you for a few minutes of your time. We look forward to seeing you, hearing from you more. November 2nd. We'll see you then.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Raymond Muratalla, who I expect a big knockout on Saturday night over Jesus Campos. As well, I like Oshaki Foster. Another close fight, maybe a little bit more action packed. I think Foster may have gotten the message. You got to throw more punches, make it decisive this time. I like Oshaki Foster again. Fight like he did against Rocky Hernandez in that 12th round. Just step it up. I think Foster wins a close decision, as well as Muratalla gets a knockout. And we're going to see Muratalla in a big fight coming up in the near future, probably the first quarter of 2025. Also, Saturday on the zone, the Muratalla fight with Campos as well as Oshaki Foster Cinceicao will be live on ESPN Plus Saturday on the zone. Another lightweight who's kind of in the same boat where Muratalla is, Floyd Schofield. He's a fight or two away from a big fight himself. 17-0 with 12 knockouts. He'll take on Rene Tellez Garon. Garon's a guy who's an upset specialist. Knocked out Balderas. When Balderas is the flavor of the month in terms of being a prospect. Now at 20-3, 13 knockouts. He's got a shot in a 12-round fight against Floyd Schofield, live on the zone from the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas. Live on the zone. So it should be an interesting fight there. I like Schofield, but I will not be shocked if Garone gives him a lot of issues during that fight. Some other fights during the weeks. On Wednesday night, October 30th, Juan Carlos Camacho takes on Jason Mama in a flyweight bout. That will be on ESPN Plus as a part of the WBO convention down in San Juan, Puerto Rico. November 1st, Jermaine Ortiz headlines a Box Lab Promotions fight card in Orlando. Some news of the week. Undisputed minimum weight champion Tanisha Superbad Estrada announced her retirement last week. Estrada, who was like we said, the undisputed minimum weight champion, 26-09 knockouts. She's a real class act. I've had a chance to interview her several times. Great girl. She will. She's gonna do well whatever she does. She's a girl who gets, who understands it. She'd be good on commentary, I believe, in boxing. If she wants to go into some kind of entertainment, I think she would be really good in that regard. But I expect her definitely to get her on some broadcasts, see her on some broadcasts, especially with Top Rank. She's already done, I think, a bunch with the international. I think with Christina Poncher, she's maybe done a few of those. And I think she, in interviews coming out with her and Christina Poncher, they talked about the retirement. I know she's had some hand problems the last several fights. I don't know if it was a hand or maybe more specifically a thumb, but she said she's been talking and thinking about retirement for 3 or 4 fights, and she got very emotional about it. I saw the clip of the preview of the interview, so I look forward to looking at that. And congratulations. We give her the clap. Job well done, Seniesa Estrada. Terrific career, and it's unbelievable. You get to get out on your own terms. So, we'll see. Like I said, we'll see more of Seniesa Estrada, I'm sure, around the boxing business, the boxing ring. Maybe just not in it, maybe just around it. Undisputed 122-pound world champion, the monster, Naoya Inoue, 28-0, 25 knockouts, will take on another undefeated fighter, Sam Goodman, 19-0, 8 knockouts. That will take place on Christmas Eve live in Tokyo. Probably ESPN Plus, who's been broadcast a lot of Inoue's fights lately. Goodman's he's a tough guy. Like I said, 19-0. He's got some good wins. Raiz Salim, I know he beat. So I think that's going to be an interesting fight for the monster Naoya Inoue. I know MJ Akhmadaliev has been campaigning for that fight, as he's another one of the mandatory fighters that Inoue will have to fight at some point should he stay in the 122-pound division. And we will get into Akhmadaliev's. He's got a fight lined up. Frank Warren announced the signing of former 2-time world champion Lawrence Okolie. Okolie, former cruiserweight world champion. He will be added to the Frank Warren stable of heavyweights that already includes Daniel Dubois, Moses Atalma, a few other emerging prospects. So Frank Warren adding to the cupboard, making it more full as former cruiserweight and bridgerweight champion Lawrence Okolie will be under the Queensberry Promotions stable. As we said about MJ Akhmadaliev, he will be in action on Saturday, December 14th in Monte Carlo. He headlines the Matchroom annual Monte Carlo fight night. He will, 12-1, 9 knockouts. He will take on Ricardo Espinosa Franco, who's 30-4 for 25 knockouts. That'll be for the interim WBA Super Bantamweight title, the same I guess they're going to let him fight for the interim super bantamweight title, as he's the number one contender, and he's been sitting around with all these mandatories that Inoue has been doing. Also on the card, Beatrice Ferreira will defend her IBF lightweight championship as a 5-0 Ferreira from Brazil will take on Lucia Bordursa, 23-2-2. For the IBF lightweight title, Chev Clark, 10-0, 7 knockouts, takes on undefeated Frenchman Leonardo Mosquera, 15-0, 9 knockouts. Sticking with the Matchroom theme, WBC flyweight champion Jesse Bam Rodriguez has re-signed with Matchroom and extended his time with Matchroom Boxing. Rodriguez will take on Pedro Guevara next Saturday night, November 9th at the Wells Fargo Center, literally minutes. See the step and repeat here? Minutes behind the step and repeat. We'll be on site all week. Hopefully we'll get Jesse Rodriguez as part of the show next week with an interview on site down in Philadelphia, one of the press events that they have lined up for the media as Guevara, takes on Rodriguez. Also, Boots Ennis and Chikazian will meet in their rematch. Well, that's our show this week. I want to thank Oshaki Foster and Raymond Muratalla for joining us this week. Watch the fights again next week. We'll have a lot of stuff from the Boots Ennis, Jesse Rodriguez doubleheader in Philadelphia. So, again, theboxinghour.com, number one boxing website in the world. We will see you next week on the Abrams Boxing Show.